This is the Clark Connection Podcast, where 12 years of coaching championships meets real-world leadership. Coach Clark broke through at the highest levels. Now he's bringing you the playbook. Every week, real leaders, real wins. Real strategies you can use Monday morning. If you're done with theory and ready for results, this is your show. You in? Let's go!
All right, and welcome to Ask the Coach live with me, Coach Clark. Great to have you guys on here with me. They're going to be doing a little bit different today, so if you don't like what you see, I'm blaming Maddie, okay? So make sure y'all blame Maddie what you're seeing right now or what you get. So that been kind of an interesting day, and one that that's really been on my heart a lot lately is that what's up? That Jeff, what's going on, man? Glad to have you tuned in, my brother. So one that's been on my heart though, guys, as we go is that, and I talked at BNI earlier today, so that's what Jeff was talking about in there. Is I talked about don't stay step. So go back. It was like 3 or 4 live streams ago. But go back and watch that. It's a really good episode of what faith that moves really looks like. And I've been struggling, got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of good stuff going. But it's kind of funny, as resistance, that's number 3 was expect resistance, expecting resistance. And let me go. Yeah, predictable resistance. I was like, let me pull up the notes from that. and I really got me thinking, that's how you know you're moving in the right direction. That when you are facing resistance, you're stepping in the right direction. The enemy is going to work overtime on that. So make sure that when you see the resistance, that the resistance doesn't mean God's telling you to stop. That if he's really put it on your heart, we talked about that, the Deo Honema, that the spirit breathed or spirit inspired. They trust that that's the Holy Spirit leading you in the right way. So I heard a real good example of how to explain why it is like it is what it is. And what I'd heard was they compared the struggle that you go to that on trying to attain your goal. They like a woman being pregnant. And I say a woman because nobody else can have a baby, can be pregnant, it's got to be a woman. And as a woman, like if you think about it though, in the first trimester, the first 3 months, most people don't even know unless they tell that they're pregnant. And sometimes as the woman, you may not even experience any real hardships other than morning sickness. The first trimester is really not as difficult. But as you start to go, it's usually about month 4, 5, 6, you start to put on some weight. You start noticing that things are a little bit more difficult to do. But as you get into that third trimester, as we're getting closer to the goal, as we're getting closer to being there, it becomes more and more difficult. Your joints start to swell, your feet hurt, your ankles, there's a lot, things just become quite difficult. you're probably put on somewhere between 30 and 80 pounds at this point. Life gets a little bit more difficult. And then when your water breaks, so we're real close now, right? We're real close to having that baby in our arms. When your water breaks, man, the labor pains are there, the contractions, all of that really intensifies as you're going through and experiencing this right now. But once that baby's there, when you're holding it in your arms, that most mothers are like, man, I would do anything for this precious little thing. Now, 5 minutes ago, they were ready to kill everybody and everything. But now you've got this beautiful baby in your arms and everything's okay. Why? Because you've achieved that goal. You've got the prize. And so think of it like that, as you're getting closer and closer to achieving that goal, you're going to be met with a lot of resistance. You're going to have to really fight through some of that. So there's going to be a lot of resistance that you're seeing, that you're facing, that you're taking on. And it's because you're moving. Because your faith is not determined by what you believe. It's determined by what you do. It's on how you act. Faith without works is dead. As you are going to, and trying to accomplish these goals, remember, if it's making a big kingdom impact, that's going to be more of a fight that you're going to get from the enemy. And I'm coming to you right now, guys, because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it too. And so I wanted to share, if you're in that struggle and you're like, goodness alive, what is going on? Why am I struggling right now? It must be a sign for me to quit. No, it's a sign to keep going. Fear says quit. Fear says stop. Faith says, who is this going to impact? Who am I going to make better? Because of what I'm going through and what I'm doing. Who are you inspiring to make better? And so keep that in mind as we go, guys. And so one that I wanted to do, as I'd had a meeting, so I joked with Maddie that if y'all don't like what I'm doing today, I've had people ask me, tell like, you've got all this stuff up here behind you. What is it and why? And so it really got me thinking as I was doing. I was like, I really ought to do something where I just bring kind of stuff down randomly and talk about it. And so the first one that I was asked, as Maddie had asked me, we were on a call. She wanted to know, tell me about these cups. So I'm going to tell you guys about these Coca-Cola cups behind me. Now, I actually kept this one. So I'm trying to make sure it says district champs. So y'all on there, district champs. So as the bowling coach for East Ascension High School, when I got there, we were pretty much the laughing stock of the league. Like, everybody looked forward to playing us because it was a guaranteed win. Towards the end of my tenure there, I had to really go and schedule games against really good teams if I wanted to play and get ready for the playoffs, because nobody wanted to play us at that point. And so this cup, this one, the district champs, and I was going to say, let me see if I can't, there we go, fade that light just a little bit. I had, she was a manager, and so she loved hanging out with the team, and that she would always draw on my cup every day. She'd put a Coach Clark on there, or whenever we'd get to our matches, trying to kill some of that light for y'all so you can see it. It says Coach Clark. Actually, now you can read it because I can't read upside down. Coach Clark. That way everybody would know what was my cup, because I was moving. I did. I moved around. Most of you guys would realize that. And so I wanted to be able to quickly identify my cup. And so she would just draw all over my cup, put random stuff on there. Well, on this one, we were playing for the district championship game, the first time that we won it. And she had already put on there district champs. So naturally, match hadn't started. I took it and tossed the original cup. I was like, absolutely not. We are not doing that. That's bad juju, bad luck, whatever you want to say. I mean, I'm not superstitious, just a little stitious. And so afterwards, she actually, and if you were to see it, you would see that the district champs is a little bit harder to like, not as it's kind of faded, that because the cup was wet when she drew it on there afterwards. So I kept that one next year. And then so she was a junior that year, senior the following year. And so she would put all sorts of other cool little stuff like this one. I was known to have a little bit of energy. So yeah, baby. Again, Coach Clark, so people would know that this was my cup. And when we won, she actually didn't allow me to use this one. She drew this one because we pretty much wrapped it up by the end of game 2 and drew on it back-to-back district champs, and that was her senior year. And then we three-peated the next year. So three-time back, but I didn't have, because she wasn't on the team anymore, so I don't have 2 of them. So that was why these are up there. They actually have meaning and purpose. So Journey, if you're watching, listening, I do appreciate it. And she told me I had to hold on to these forever, or else she would cause physical harm to me. And I do believe her. So that's the purpose of the Coca-Cola cups, the plastic or the paper Coca-Cola cups. They have no significant value to anybody but me. So they drop in the chat. What do you guys want to know about next? What behind me is next? I'd love to be able to talk about anything else that you guys are wondering about. I didn't know. Let me check, see if there's anything on this chat. Doesn't look like it. Anything particular? If not, I'm just going to go kind of write down that next thing on there, one that I get asked. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, just had somebody ask, tell me about, and I was glad y'all mentioned that. Tell me about Cookie Monster. So let me grab Cookie Monster. So be thinking, guys, as you're watching. I think about stuff that you want to know about. So Cookie Monster, and I think I've talked about him before, is whenever I was coaching girls soccer. So this team right here. I hadn't taken most of these pictures down in forever. So this team right here, that my girls soccer team 2015. Shout out to you ladies. I'm just going to set this right over here because that was a little bit more difficult. But we had several injuries throughout that season. I became a regular. I think they had my own special room in the hospital. And one game we were traveling. I don't remember where we were traveling to, but somebody left on the bus a Cookie Monster, and they were like, we got to keep Cookie Monster. They came and put him up on the front, and he was like, Cookie Monster is going to keep us safe. I'm like, whatever, bring him on the sideline. If that's going to keep us safe, Cookie Monster's coming on the sideline. So Cookie Monster comes on the sideline, and nobody got hurt. So I held on to Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster came on the sideline the rest of that season. And after that, nobody got hurt the rest of the season. So whenever I was done, I just figured I'd hold on to Cookie Monster forever. I never had anywhere to put him or go with him till we built this shelf. So that's how Cookie Monster came to be and why Cookie Monster is on the shelf. That just looked in this chat. 2 other, the Cookie Monster. What else? What other things? I think another, and I actually got a fun one. Yeah. Twizzler. Yeah. I snuggle with him at night. I appreciate you, bud. So, what else? I'm actually, if nobody has anything, I know the next one that I think is pretty funny is my name tag back here that I've brought. Hadn't had it on here until I stopped working at my corporate job. Somebody just said the Funko. I'll do that one next. So this, and if y'all can y'all read, I'm kind of a big deal. Let me do this real quick. I know you'll be easier to see that. So I had a young man by the name of Josh, and Josh, I thought that I was a player, like, man, because I was always talking to all the girls. Now, I want you to keep in mind that as a teacher and a coach, I literally, like, as a male teacher, you are in the minority. You might make up 15 to 20% of the teacher population. So most of the people that you talk to are they're women teachers. But he thought because people would walk into the classroom and I'm like, hey, welcome to class. And so I've got on here, welcome Elizabeth, welcome Jeff, welcome Caitlin, welcome David. And he would come through and I'd be like, welcome to class, Josh. And it's like, I see you, coach. I see you talking to them girls. I'm like, Josh, you can't go around telling people this. You can't let people know that I'm like, you can't go tell people this. Even got asked about it by the principal, like, are you talking to girls? I've kind of, and I'm like, no, I'm not. He keeps saying this. And so one day, he's telling me about it. I said, well, how do I do it? And I said, well, Josh, I'm kind of a big deal, man. So just, like, that's got to stay between you and me. And the next thing I know, a couple weeks later, this pops up on my desk at work. And so I'm actually kind of aggravated when this happens because, like, who broke into my room? Who just threw something on there? And who was pranking me? So I thought my buddy Joey did it, which is another fun one to talk about. He was like, nah. He said, Clark, you know, if I'd have done it, he said, like, I'd put this on your desk. He's like, you're a bigger jerk than me. Why would I say you're a big deal? Which is our running joke, is we always said the other one was a bigger jerk than the other one. Until Josh showed up to class, and Josh was not happy that I'm kind of a big deal was not on my desk. And he wanted to know what happened to it. And I was like, oh, that was you, Josh. So I put it up. So Josh had bought into that line that I gave him. And it's always a good reminder as you're having a rough day, as a bad day, have these things out and about that remind you of the good times, that remind you of the fun stuff. And so Josh is, I'm kind of a big deal. And all right, the Funko Pop, like Coach Clark himself saying, you may have seen him on a video or two, man. He likes to talk a lot of smack. I was given this by two of my employees. One is still currently my co-host of the show. So whenever you see Caitlin on there, like, they gave it. And so in it, they always picked on me, as I always had either a book in my hand or a cell phone in my hand. And so that's what the mini Coach Clark has, is a cell phone and a book in his hand. So just kind of keep it up there. You'll start seeing him. I'm going to start using him to, like, where is Coach Clark this week stuff. So that was kind of hard. I wish I could get him back into to stay, so he doesn't go back in real easy. Yeah, David. Should have taken Cookie Monster with you and Levi Racing. I don't know if it would have worked. I think we tried it once and it just didn't work. Didn't help him go faster. Okay, the book collection, like, it's your little Billy. So, Jeff, I'm gonna come back to the book. So little Billy, you know, my grandfather is Billy B. Clark. This is him. That's me, my dad, and my oldest son, Zachary. So we did take a picture. And we've got a couple others of 4 generations of Clark males. But little Billy was my grandfather's alter ego whenever we would play games, particularly poker. Granddad loved poker. And so that's the little Billy joke. All right. So favorite book. That's a hard one. So okay. So couple of favorites. First, that is the Bible. I read the Bible daily. Which if you hadn't done it, like seriously, that you need to read that you should go read the Bible. Read it cover to cover. I promise you can't read it and not be changed. And it really makes sense and such a beautiful love story of how God wants us to come to him, shows that we aren't capable of coming to him and being perfect, like why he had to send Jesus to die, for you and I to be able to have a right relationship with him, and how all we have to do is accept a free gift. And as a leadership coach, there are so many great leadership things in here. The how to set up a business is actually in here, and run and manage a business. That Moses in the book of Exodus, they talk about it at the very beginning. That Moses' father-in-law, that actually had they told Moses, hey, here's how you need to separate and break up your that work, because you can't manage it all. That's one that we do a lot, that I say that we micromanage, and that's one of my top 5 that I say or that leaders make, is we micromanage instead of leading results. So that's a good, this is such a good, it's a daily read. Don't expect to read this, sit down and read this cover to cover. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And really, it's like an ultra marathon. So if you that did our book review on You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, he's an ultra marathon runner. It's like over 100 miles. Like, to me, that's nuts. Why would you run more than a mile, but 100 miles so it's a marathon. I've read cover to cover twice. I'm halfway through my 3rd time. And every single time it's taken me about 2.5 years. So don't think that you're going to read the Bible quickly. And that's where a lot of people mess up when you're reading the Bible. If you miss a day, just pick back up. But don't try to make up the day. So my goal is to read 2 chapters a day. If you don't read 2 chapters, it's okay. If you miss a day, it's okay. And I only read Monday through Friday. So give yourself some grace on that. It's tough because it is so long and it can be discouraging. But just a little bit every day. Like, you want to talk about drama? If you like drama, you can find your stuff in here, like family drama. Whew. Wow. Yeah. The Bible. So that's favorite. Now, Jeff, I had to grab a couple of different books, because my favorite is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I read this book once a year, and if I kind of, you can see that it's really worn, and I'll probably have to turn the light off for you to see all the different cracks and everything else in it. I read it, and a lot of times I'll just pick it up and like, hey, I wonder what that, hey, how do you win people to your way of thinking, and just kind of flip through it. I've got notes and highlights, and there's different color highlights in here. So I've really gone through. I love this because if I had to define what we do as leader, we win friends and influence people. It's so, and I like the 1930 version. That I believe that the principles that he put in here are so phenomenal, that with how to really connect with people, because it's ultimately about them. The biggest thing is talk to people about their favorite person, themselves. My favorite person is me. Your favorite person is you. The next one that I picked up, because this one actually based the inner game of tennis. I based my entire coaching philosophy off of the inner game of tennis. And you may be thinking, your coaching philosophy, like, did you even coach? No, I did not coach tennis. But it's more talking about how to get into the zone, like how to mentally put yourself into the zone and get yourself ready to play the game, but then apply this to life and not calling things bad. A real good one. And then I grabbed, because this was technically the first personal growth book that I ever read. And I only read it because I was teaching the class. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So when I got to East Ascension High School, they said, hey, you're going to start teaching this class and one of the books you got to read is you're going to teach on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So I was like, I can't teach something if I've never read it. And so I read it. This is not the one that I read because the one I had did not belong to me. It belonged to the school. So I didn't get to keep it. So went and found a copy, that just to have it. I have not really read back through it. And I got it for like $2. A phenomenal book. They go through 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. A shout out to J Money. Yeah, I do got J Money up on a wall. Let me put these back. One that's a good one. How Successful People Lead. It's short. It's by John Maxwell. I'm a Maxwell certified trainer. Really goes through the 5 levels of leadership. Add this one to this. So J Money. This the man, the myth, the legend himself. That J Money. He doesn't have a real name. It's just J Money. If you don't know, how I met J Money is probably one of my favorite stories. I was coaching at East Ascension High School, and I kept noticing that this young man kept coming out, and I'd see him every day as I was walking back to the field house. It was during 4th block. He was just sitting there watching the cheerleaders. I'm like, hey, get back to class, get back. And I must have for 2 weeks straight, every single day, kicked him out of watching cheer practice. So one day I come by, and they're in the wrestling room, and I see the door open. I'm like, my boy's got to see his cheerleaders. And so I went, hey, kid, what's your name? He looked at me and went, J Money. Like, how do you not know who I am? And I was like, so J Money, want to get in and watch cheerleader practice? So I brought him in. We both got kicked out of cheerleader practice a little bit later. Because I was like, yeah, I got to go talk to the teacher about something. Bring him in. I was like, no, this is J Money. This is my boy. Start talking to her, and she's like, you only came in here so he could watch the cheerleaders. Out. So that was how me and Jay Money became friends, and had him. He was on the bowling team. That was such that joy to be around. I talked to him that multiple times throughout the year. So absolutely love me some Jay Money. Yeah, shout out to Jay. Let's see. If I missed anything, because I don't want to stay too much longer. Let me check through here. I don't know if anybody wrote anything on TikTok. Anything else? So while I'm up, because I do have, this is one that I've been asked about before. The bowling pin. This was from the state championship, and this one was from 2018. No, our 2018 silver medal for going. I didn't win, but that's one of the ones. And then the other one has the players from the last year that I coached. They all bought one and signed one that for me. But I thought this was a pretty cool gift that they gave us. The next year they gave us just a little and just a plaque. They gave us a plaque for making it through. I mean, it's cool, but wasn't as cool as the big bowling pin. Like, what else? Anything else? That stuff behind me y'all want to know about? If not, I'll just pick, because I got enough. We've been on about 35 minutes. So I am going to do some more of these. I don't want to keep going. This could go forever. But I mean, everything up there, guys, it has something of importance. One that I will share, because I actually shared this with a client earlier this week, as we were talking about you can do whatever. And I think this is a good way to end it, because I started off talking about this. So whenever my grandfather passed, there were a few things that I asked that I wanted from him. One was his billfold. So he carried his wallet, he kept his money, his cards, all that good stuff in here. Realistically, this probably isn't more than somewhere between $20 and $40. I think he paid like $20 for this. But it's got his initials on it. I don't know. You probably won't be able to see it real well, but it's got his initials on it. And so it's special. It has value to me. But one that I wanted, that my grandmother was like, "You want what?" So I said, "Hey, before you get rid of any of them," because Granddad would not allow her to do this, I said, "I want a pack of cigarettes." And you may be thinking, a pack of cigarettes, Carlton cigarettes at that. So it's not like it's even, from what I know, as good cigarettes. I don't know anything about cigarettes. I don't smoke. But like, Granddad smoked for over 50 years. From what he says, he was somewhere between 8 and 12 when he started. And he was in his early 60s whenever he quit. And quit cold turkey, walking down the hallway one day, coughing, and said, "You know what? I quit." They carried around a pack of cigarettes with him for 2 weeks. So just in case he decided he really didn't want to quit anymore. And then one day when he finally told my grandmother, they went to go eat at a restaurant, and she was like, they're picking the seats, and she was like, "Oh yeah, the smoking section." He's like, "Oh no, we can go in the other section." Like we can go in the non-smoking. And so for those of you who are younger, just know that they used to have a smoking section in restaurants and a non-smoking section in restaurants. Yes, that was a real thing. I do remember it. And that was one of the things I used to dislike about sitting with or going out to eat with my grandfather is we sat in the smoking section and it just stunk and it smelled. Ugh. Anyways. And so he told her, hey, I quit. I've quit smoking. Over 50 years, smoked every day and just quit. Now, his choice in smokes was whatever was the cheapest carton he could buy. So whatever, I think that's what they call them, a carton where you get the whole thing. That's what he bought, the cheapest ones he could find, because he didn't find that anything was different between any of them. And so I bring these in because if this man was capable of quitting smoking after 50 years, cold turkey, he didn't do the patch or the gum or anything else. He just quit it. He just quit smoking. You can go through and do anything you want to do as well. And so that's what this is. This is a reminder to me. This is worth literally nothing. You probably can't even smoke like any of them. Like if you probably took it and lit it up, it'd probably just go and be gone. Like, because it's that old. It's from like the mid 90s. It's like 95, 96 old. But you can endure whatever hardship that you're going through. You can endure whatever problem is. That because how close are you to the finish line? How close are you to reaching what it is that you've been charged with? How close are you? Don't quit. Don't quit. And so if any of this resonated with you guys, share this live stream with somebody. That if you're thinking like, hey, I'm really wanting to take the next step, I need to get Coach Clark in front of my organization. Look, I've got a free discovery call. You can get it on my website or just reach out to me. I'll send you the Calendly link personally. But schedule your free discovery call to see if we can help each other, if I can help you. And if I can't help you guys, I will get you to the right person. That I want to help. I want to see you successful. That's my ultimate goal. That's my ultimate goal, is to connect people and add value and help you to be successful. Now, if you're wanting to gain clarity, they regain some confidence and get out of the rut, they start with that. Take the first step, reach out, and let's make this happen. And because remember, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So keep leading, keep learning, keep connecting. I'll see you on the next episode of Clark Connection Podcast. Bye, guys.